everybody, it's Rexanna with Past, Present Herbs. And today I'm coming on and I'm going to be doing a video for my YouTube channel, and also I'm going to be posting this on both channels, my YouTube and my Rumble channel. And I'll be posting links for both channels down under the show more, down in the description as well, so you'll have links to both. And today is going to be a very pretty, it's going to be pretty important what I'm going to talk about. The topic of today's video is going to be on hormones, and this topic is very near and dear to me. I don't talk, this is going to be, I've never talked about this, so today's video, I'm going to talk about my own experience. I'm going to be doing several videos on this topic, and if you're a guy, and this is going to be, I'm going to be talking about this first video. I'm going to be going over my experience, and I'm going to be talking a little bit of a testimony. It's probably not going to interest any gentleman unless you are somebody who's very caring and very concerned for a female partner. But I will preface this. Hormones are for men and for women, and they are, this is something that is, there are hormones in men and women's lives. And I'm going to be very outspoken in this video because it has to do with our health, and it has to do with sickness and disease. And so if you're a gentleman, I'm going to leave the comments on, but I will say this in the very beginning. This is part of housekeeping. If you have rude or crude things to say, I will ban you from ever coming back onto my videos. And if you're not educated enough to keep yourself from saying rude or crude things, hormones is an essential part of a person's life. And when I say certain things, it's not to be commented on in a bad way or a good way. It's to say something of great importance. So either you can not comment, or comment in an educated way or a informative way, but don't say anything that is going to get you banned, because I will ban you from commenting at all, and you won't be able to watch my videos. If you do watch my videos, you won't be able to comment at all, because this is a very serious subject to me. And I'm trying to find a monitor to where they can monitor. And while I'm talking, I won't be answering any comments until after the video. So you can comment, but I probably won't be able to answer your comments until after the video. Okay, that's the most important thing I wanted to say, because if you do have an important comment, I do want to answer your comment to the best that I can. I may have to, if I don't know the immediate answer, I will find a way to get the most informed answer for you. I am going to start off with a story that will relate to a lot of women. And my story is, I was in my middle 30s. And what has prompted this is getting sick over the years and finding out that it's all related to my hormones. But how I started out was going to the doctor and finding out years later that the doctors have almost killed me. But if you'll be patient, I'm going to tell you some good stuff down the road. I'm in my 60s now, but when I started out on this journey, this long journey, I was about 34 years old, and when I was 34 years old, I started having some, I'll just tell you the signs and the symptoms. And I'm telling this story because I want to help some other women. And I've told bits and pieces to other women, and other women, I see the light bulb turn on in their eyes and in their brain, and they're like, well, that's not what my doctor told me. So I know I need to continue to tell this story. Okay, I started out with heavy bleeding. Okay, I know, like, normal bleeding for a woman, and you may have, all of a sudden, you just have excessive bleeding. And your menstruation, for normal women, you have a normal bleed, and then you have not so normal bleeding. All of a sudden, I had not my normal period. I had excessive bleeding, and then I had a regular period. Well, I went beyond my regular period, and I was working, and I had to show up for work and do my regular work thing. Well, I was unable to perform my regular duties at work due to the fact that I was bleeding like a stuck pig. And, well, I was having, normally I had, a regular painful period, but not too painful period. I was able to control it with over-the-counter medication. Well, I was going to the doctor. I had planned to go to my gynecologist, and my gynecologist, I told her, I said, I can't control this with over-the-counter. And then I was telling her how I was bleeding excessively. And so we were running some tests, and during the test, the only thing that she was telling me was, do you want a hysterectomy? And I was thinking that was a little extreme because of the fact that, I hadn't really thought about that. Well, that's the first thing that they'll tell you is, if you're having excessive bleeding, if you're having painful periods, they just try to give you surgery. Well, none of that had entered into my mind. So she told me that she was booked for over a year, and I did not know whether I really wanted to have surgery or not. And so I said, well, I don't know if do I need it? I mean, is that really necessary? She said, well, we'll just put you on the schedule if you decide to change your mind. And I was working actually on a floor of a hospital where I worked with a lot of other nurses, and I was actually working on an OBGYN floor. And so, I mean, that was just the normal thing to do to get that done. And I was confused. I didn't understand. I wanted to get to the root of the problem, but I didn't want to actually have surgery. And I thought, well, I mean, so I was seeking other forms. I'm a natural type person, so I was trying to think of another way that I could get some help. And I was told, I was crying all the time. I was very in pain, and I was told by one of my friends, she said, you need to get on some B vitamins so you don't cry all the time, because the emotional support that you need right now. And I was of course very emotional, and so I went to the natural food grocery store, and I was talking to the guy that was behind the counter. He seemed to be the go-to guy. He was into natural herbs, and they sold herbs there. And he was just telling me, and I didn't want to talk to him, but I told him, I said, do you have anything that would keep a woman from bleeding all the time. And he said, what do you mean bleeding all the time? And I said, well, I'm on my period, but I bleed all the time. I bleed like when I'm not even on my period, I'm bleeding. He said, oh, you need this. And so he went behind the counter and gave me a brown bottle, and it had a whole list of herbs and vitamins. And he said, this is your B complex, and then this will keep you from bleeding. And I mean, it just had a whole list of herbs that I'd never heard of. And so I took it, and within about 3 or 4 days, I quit bleeding like excessively. I was only bleeding my natural period, and I was doing really good. And so the B complex was really helping me, and these other, I don't know, really, I didn't even pay attention to what they were. I was just so thankful that they worked. And of course, I ran out of that big old brown bottle at the time, and I was doing great. I mean, I just was happy. And a month or so went by, and of course, everything started happening again. And so I would go back periodically to this natural herb store, and I would get the brown bottle. And it was very nerve-wracking for me because I was working. I was highly stressed. I didn't eat really good. I didn't have time to fix the meals. I was very big into church, and I just wanted to feel better all the time. And I just was always asking that guy, you know, that brown bottle of herbs that you gave me, he would say, oh yeah. And I was, it just seemed like everything in my body was off. And so about a year had gone by, and I had put off getting a hysterectomy. But I went in to see my regular doctor, and I told him how depressed I was. I didn't tell him that I was depressed. I went in to see him because I told him, I think my hormones are off, is what I told him. And I said, I really think that my hormones are off balance. Can you check me to see if my hormones are off balance? Because I was around a lot of people who had hormonal imbalances. And I mean, you know, I was working on the OBGYN floor, and I just knew all these hormones, and I thought, I'm having a hormone issue. I really believe that. And I had talked to a couple of nurses, and the nurses were saying, well, you just need to have a hysterectomy if your hormones are off balance. And I thought, well, I should fix that. You know, I should go in and have that fixed. And I was thinking that was the way to go. Well, when I went in and was talking to my, you know, regular physician, my primary care physician, he said, I'll be right back. And he went out to the, I guess, to talk to his nurse. And the nurse came back in, and she gave me a little piece of paper that had all these questions on it. And I was looking, and it said, are you sad today? On a regular basis, do you feel happy, sad, or angry? And it was a questionnaire for depression. And I was thinking, what is this? I mean, you know, I didn't understand. So I filled it out, and then I was like, I don't get why they're asking me all these questions. And, you know, and then she said, you just need to get on some depression medication. And I was like, why would I need to be on depression medication? My hormones are off balance. And she come in there, and she goes, we're going to run some blood work on you now. So you need to go down the hall and sit on that bench. And the lady, when she gets ready, she'll come out and call you for some blood work. Well, I went down there, and they wanted me to have urine test because they thought I might have a urinary tract infection. And I thought, I don't have a urinary tract infection. So, waiting for the lady to draw my labs, and she's smiling at me, and she's touching my arm going, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And I'm thinking, what are they, that all of a sudden everybody's being super nice to me, and they're never nice to me in that doctor's office. They're the meanest people on earth. And so I'm all of a sudden thinking, what's wrong? You know, all of a sudden, after the lady runs my blood, she tells me to go out here in this little waiting room. The doctor will be with me in a minute. And he comes out there and he sits down beside me, and he said, my husband's name is Danny. He said, can you call Danny and get Danny on the phone? So I called Danny, and he went to grab the phone out of my hand, and he puts it, because he loves my husband. He calls Danny. He says, Danny, you want to do me a favor and take your wife out to eat dinner? And he said, why, sure. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, what are you doing? He goes, this little sweetie, she just needs a date night. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the world? And he said, you're going to be just fine, Rexanna. He said, just a date with your husband is all you need. And I'm thinking, what in God's green? So, you know, I just sit there, and they told me to go up front and pay. And I said, so is anything wrong with my hormones? Did y'all run? He said, we can't check for hormones. We cannot check to see if anything is wrong with your hormones. He said, there's nothing wrong with you, Rexanna. There is nothing in the world wrong with you. He said, I'm writing you a prescription. Actually, I've got Linda over here. She's going to get you something out of the closet. Get you some samples. You take this medication. And I said, what? And they just lied to me and told me that all I need, I was depressed. All I needed was to take these samples home and get started on these psycho drugs, and that Danny just need to take me out to eat, and we just need, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? And I felt this big. That's how they made me feel. Like there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. It was all in my head. And that they could not check for hormones. They can check for hormones. They absolutely can. It was their inability to know the difference. And they cannot check, is what they told me. They can check for hormones. They just did not know how to check for hormones. They did not know how to take care of me. Yeah, that's true. I get really upset every time I think back, and I ended up having a hysterectomy a year later. I went through a horrible time recovering because my body was not receiving the hormone patches. I had been so messed up for so long, and so when I had a wonderful gynecologist. She was a female gynecologist, but she was not, I don't know, she did have a lot of new things. I mean, I think she was really educated very finely, but when she went to put the hormone patch on me, my body had some sort of reaction to it, and I broke out in an allergic reaction. I don't know if it was to the patch or to the hormones or to both or to what. We did try some creams, and I broke out and with those. I did not receive well with those. I had put them on my arms right here. And she wanted to give my body a break because my body was, the chemistry in my body was changing radically. Um, I was supposed to be losing weight. Instead, I was gaining weight. And so I'm learning a lot about receptors, that if your body has gone through all these different chemical changes, and there's a lot of scientific, research being done, that these hormones that need to be given so that your body can begin to heal. But if your body is not, it's these bioidentical hormones that are so essential. I believe I had such a high level of cortisol in my body is the reason that my body was not able to heal. And I don't know if really what was going on. I believe I had so many different things going on. I needed somebody highly educated in the hormone field to really help me receive these hormones. And I just did not. I had these people that just didn't understand how to deal with me on a hormonal level. And so my body was just, it was just really, I suffered for the next 5 years dramatically. And I put on a lot of weight, and I was just really very, I would get anxious, I would get angry, I would still have all these, even though I wasn't supposed to be having hot flashes, I would have hot flashes. Even though I was not supposed to be doing this, I was just not acting right. My body was not acting right. And had other conditions that they said, well, your body's supposed to be calming down now. It wasn't calming down. I aged dramatically, and my body, I was like, and not having the libido, which you're supposed to have, your sex drive is supposed to come back, not me. Being able to lose the weight, and having the estrogen and the progesterone and the testosterone, all my levels were all messed up. Finally, and it causes heart disease. It causes, I was constantly having problems with all kinds of stuff in my body. I was having all these problems with, I didn't develop any major disease, thank God. But, just within a matter of time, and I've been praying and I've been watching everything. And, you just continually know, like, I've been fighting everything. The weight is what has been a continual issue with me. And they say, you're, I can tell with my heart and with my, if I get up to do anything, I'll feel my high blood pressure go up, but I can get it to come down. And my breathing, that's one thing that's been really hard for me. And they said, well, all this has to do with your hormones. And I was continually working out, trying to lose the weight. And then finally, this one lady that was talking about never being able to lose weight. I had a friend, we were going to the gym. I had paid for a 6-month membership. And in the back of my mind, people say, you're worth it. And I keep saying, I know I'm worth it. It has nothing to do with my self-worth. It's just, if you know anything about, I know God loves me. I know all this, but if you know anything about me, if you know anything about, I know God designed my body, but he's the mathematician up there. He's the scientist up there. And he put my body, I took, and see, it causes brain fog, a lot of this. I took A&P, Anatomy and Physiology. And if you take Anatomy and Physiology, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, I would sit there and think to myself, how can somebody take Anatomy and Physiology and not understand that God has created us? God created our bodies. And that's why I look out the window and I see the planet, the stars, the sun, the moon, the sky, and the earth, and see the turning of the soil and the seeds and the plants, and see year after year how things just evolve, and not believe in our Creator. I'm sorry, I'm just a people person. I love the planets, the stars, and I love the gardening, and I love how it is that we take care of ourselves, even if you don't take care of yourself. You know, I get into knowing, I don't know, I think I'm called to it. You know, just take a look. And sometimes you don't have to get to know into the science part of it. You just have to know, you know, we are uniquely created by a creator. You know, this stuff can't be made by a person. We are created by the loving Father, the Creator. His name is Yeshua. And he created us in such a way that men can't do this. It has to be, he's a scientist. He is the scientist. He's the one that put our bodies together. And it has to be done, like, there's certain things that have to be done, like estrogen. That's the female, you know, you have to have the estrogen in, and I was fully loaded with estrogen. I probably had more estrogen in my body than I needed. And then I had we all have to have progesterone, and we all have to have testosterone to test. I'm not gonna be able to say it. The stuff that men have to have, but women have to have it too. And there's other hormones, and that we all have to have what keeps us going, as far as so we don't get overloaded. And that's, I call it the stressor, which is your adrenal glands. You have to have your adrenal glands. If you're overloaded and you get like, my adrenal glands, I've ran so low on my adrenals, I've been like, you know, yeah, you have to get picked up by your adrenals. And so you have all these things where you're so fatigued, and you're just like, I can't. And I've been totally out of it, where I've been weeks and weeks and weeks, and you're like in adrenal fatigue, you're in adrenal failure. You can be in adrenal failure. That's what they call it. And all this is because of your hormones. And there's other hormones that I'm not even speaking about. But the reason I'm going through all this, and I'm telling you my testimony and all that, is because if you don't have your hormones, and if they're not balanced, and if they're not right, they can lead into other diseases like heart failure, and like diabetes, and like cancer. You can have cancer and not even know it. And then they said, well, your hormones weren't right. Well, if you're like me and you've had a hysterectomy, you're even more susceptible to having cancer. You're even more susceptible. And then now I'm not even on that. I finally found, let me go back real quick. I finally found a doctor that was going to put me on a compound, and they did test me, and they did tell me that I could be that I did need to be on a compound of, I think it was 3 or it might have been 4 hormones: estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, and one other one. I think it was 4 different ones. I forgot what the other one was. But anyway, they have a 25% or 16%, or I don't know what all the combination, but it has to be like a percent of each one. And it's compounded in a pharmacy in your area. There's usually one pharmacy that's a compounding pharmacy, and they made it into a cream. And I shot a little bit in my arm, because it has to be somewhere like it can be right here, somewhere where it doesn't get into the fat. Like if it was part of this arm right here, it's too much fat. It has to be in the body where there's a large amount of fat. It has to get into your body pretty quickly. And I was on that cream for about 2 years. And the first year, I'll be real honest, I did not feel anything whatsoever. My body felt exactly the same. And so online, I reached out to another doctor, and I was asking them if they could run another test on me. And they said, well, your test is not going to be any different. They ran the same test that the other doctor ran. Because in so many words, what they said is the test is going to probably be about the same, because it was in a short amount of time. So I thought, well, I'll just stay with what I'm doing, and I won't have anything, ran, and I'll stay with it a little bit longer. And in the next year, I did start feeling a very slight difference, very slight. But your hair will fall out. You'll have all kinds of symptoms, and basically, I had almost every single sign and symptom, and I didn't begin to really feel a lot of difference. I had backache all the time. My hair was falling out, and my skin was still dry and itchy. I didn't have the luscious skin, or like they said, you won't feel dry anymore. You'll feel more sexual energy, more sexual drive. None of that came back. All the wonderful skin glow, and you'll have more energy, more vitality. You'll just begin to have all these wonderful, lively things happen to you. Whereas I was in my about late 40s at that time. None of that happened to me. None of it happened. And I was just still seeking and searching and seeking and searching. And they said, you should feel better. You should feel better. This is going on 2 years. And they said, well, maybe, this other doctor, he said, maybe in another couple months, we'll recheck you and see if, and they did recheck me. And he said, we're going to do a slight variation in your compound, in your prescription. So the pharmacist that I talked to, he said, it's so minuscule. He said, you won't feel nothing. And I said, what do you mean so minuscule? And he said, on a couple of your levels, like your estrogen and your progesterone, he said, which those are the only 2 that got changed, he said, you won't be able to feel the difference. And I said, then why change it? And he goes, because the doctor's trying to make you feel better. You, not your body. And he said, it's actually going to cost you $2 more. And I was like, are you serious? Which, I mean, I don't care what the cost was, but I was just thinking, he's only trying to make me another attempt at making Rexanna feel better, but not really make her body feel better. We're not trying to get me well. We're just trying to mentally psych her out, make her think she's going to get better. So I thought, here we go again. Here we go again. And I thought, okay. I said, at least he's trying, maybe. But, but the pharmacist was trying to let me know, he's just costing you more money, but it's not really going to help. It's tweaked your recipe here, but not really going to help you. But he's just trying to make you. So I took it for about another year, and I saw that it wasn't really helping me, physically helping me. So I just got off of it. And I know that might be, and he just told me, the pharmacist told me, he said, if it's not really helping you physically, he said, don't worry about it. And it was only, altogether, it was like $56. And it started out $45. And I thought, well, I want something to really help me feel better. Lustrous, like they said, your skin will glow. You'll start feeling better libido-wise, and all these other kinds of things, It just didn't do that. So I'm excited. I've said all that. And I've heard you can eat a better diet. I've heard you can do this compounding pharmacy, like get on some really good hormones to make your body really feel better, even in your 60s, even in your 70s. And it can help you to fight, cancer cells. It can help you lose weight, naturally get your body back to where it was when you were younger. Of course, you're not going to be, but it's going to make your body do what it's supposed to do. I'm reading a book, and the name of this book, I'm going to do another video. It's going to be like several videos, and I want to continue talking about this subject. I hope I don't get any strikes, and I hope I don't get any, we'll just see how it goes here on YouTube. But that's why I'm going to be posting these videos here and on Ramble, because I think it's going to be more well received on Ramble than it is here on YouTube. But I was seeking something. I'm always seeking something for better health. Now that I'm feeling better because of the condition, that all the stuff that I've just gone through with my health, and not being in the right place where I want to be. I'm still seeking better health all the time, with going and having these treatments. It's the name of the book is called How Not to Let Your Doctor Slowly Kill You. Is that not an awesome title? How Not to Let Your Doctor Slowly Kill You. That's an awesome title to a book, right? And it's written by a doctor. Her name is Dr. Angela D. Rosa. She's not an MD, she's a DO, which diagnostic doctors I really have kind of a soft spot for, because I've gone to several DOs, and diagnostic doctor DOs are generally have a good reputation. Not so much now, but in the past I have gone to some DOs. If they are really good-hearted, and they generally do want to help their patients, they will have a good reputation for really caring for their doctor. There is some ways that some DOs can make money and have the compassion to take care of their patients. But there are some DOs that are out there that are strictly for making that money and getting you through, just like they're just cash cows. They just want to get you through, make that money, and they don't really have the compassionate heart to see you for they just see patients as cash cows. That's what I call it, you know. But there are some, like I believe this woman has really stopped and educated. She has a testimony because she went into full-blown menopause in her 20s. And that has to do with the way that our system, our environment, our food, and everything has caused people to go. And that's another video in itself too. But you know, we have to be very careful what we eat, what we drink, what, you know, that's a full video in itself. My mother was very young and went into menopause, and she had her children, and it was pretty much going through the same thing that I was going through, but for different reasons. And the doctors, what they did to her, hormone replacement therapy is what they call it. But my mom had some major issues happen to her, and the drugs were a little bit different, which did cause my mom to have real heart issues. But my mom was a smoker, and my mom, because my mom was a heavy smoker, and they warned her and cautioned her, you know, she was very estrogen dominant, and she was very, she just said, you know, I just need to take my hormones. Once my hormones are okay, you know, I'm going to be fine. But she smoked those cigarettes very heavily, and she became very, she had high blood pressure, she had some cholesterol issues, and then she took a little pink pill every day, which was her estrogen. I don't know whether it had estrogen, whether it had, I'm sure it just had estrogen. I don't think it had testosterone and progesterone. But the thing with my mother is, I think she took the same medication probably until she was 50 years old. She might have been a little bit older. But my mom developed heart disease from taking the hormone replacement therapy drugs. And they also told her, do not smoke and do not drink. Well, my mother probably only had maybe 5 or 6 drinks her entire life. I'm serious. She just did not drink. And she had maybe one drink one time at one party or one thing. She might not even have drank the whole drink. My mother was not an alcoholic type person, but my mother loved to smoke. And I think the smoking, she finally quit smoking around, I'm not sure if it was in her 60s, maybe sometime between 50s and 60s, somewhere in there. She was very dedicated trying to quit smoking, and she would smoke and then she'd quit, and then she'd smoke and then she'd quit. But I know somewhere in there she quit smoking. But my mother, she really gave it her very best to quit smoking. But the damage was already done. She quit smoking. She started smoking when she was in junior high, and she smoked for a very long time. But she really did quit smoking before any of the stuff that, like in her 70s, my mom was 76, 77. And she would say, you know, she had COPD, of course, which was started by her smoking, but she had lung disease, emphysema, but she also had like a pacemaker put in, and then she had a lot of other problems that I think were from hormones, which were her cholesterol and her heart disease, and her high blood pressure. And I think all that was because, you know, she just she never could. And she was always very angry. She was very angry. And we'd say, Mom, what's wrong? And she'd go, I don't know. And she'd say, if I could just find somebody, I'd beat the shit out of them. And she was that way after her hysterectomy. And she would say, if I could just get my hormone pill, I'll be all right. And we would always kid her, laugh with her, and joke with her and say, you know, Mom, you need to get off your hormone medication because they say it's dangerous. You know, she had 3 daughters, and all 3 of us, we would read articles where it's dangerous to be on that hormone replacement. And she would say, if I got off my hormone pills, I'll kill somebody because that's the only thing that calms me down. And, you know, I think if we had found some kind of help for my mom early, a long time ago, my mom probably wouldn't develop such terrible heart disease. I really believe that with all my heart. But my mother was the result of a terrible, botched quadruple bypass surgery. They did not know how to go in and do a proper open heart surgery on her, and she died. And my sisters and I will always miss her. And that's, you know, what I don't want to have to happen to me or my baby sister. My older sister has passed away. And my baby sister and I think about that a lot. And I will always try to do whatever I can to help me and my baby sister as far as hormones go. And, you know, that stuff gets passed down in families. And you think, well, what can I do, you know, to reverse the curse in my family? And I know a lot of people don't call it that, but it is a curse. It's a family curse. It's a family thing. And I call it a curse because, you know, this country does not recognize that women are the most blessed thing in the family. We are the backbone of every family. And when it comes to men's health care, well, they pushed my mother in the hallway to take care of a man in the operating room first. Whereas my mom was scheduled to go in first. Whereas that man, he got pushed in first. He got pushed in line first. And if my mom had got to go in first, maybe she'd have made it. I don't know. But you know, it really hurts my heart to see sometimes. And I love men. I'm not against men in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm just trying to make a clear observation here. Men sometimes, their health care gets treated first. They, as patients, because they, you know, have to go to work first. Well, women, we bear the seed. You know, we have to be treated just as equally as sometimes men do. And our responsibilities are just as great as a man, you know. So I'm reading this book, and I'm going to be making several videos because it's time that women's health care in America is just as important as men, okay? And it's time that women take care of themselves, and we have to educate ourselves. I have granddaughters, and I want my granddaughters to take care of their bodies and educate themselves on their bodies because they have careers and they have families, and they need to understand the importance and the role of their life, and they have to not just be pushed to the side. You know, they have to take care of themselves. Like I tell my son, you need to learn to cook for yourself because, you know, not everybody's going to get up and be able to cook your dinner. You need to get up and cook your own dinner, you know? And I believe that for everybody, you know, get up and cook your own dinner. I mean, we all want to eat dinner together, true enough. But if Mama's sick, Mama has to go lay down in bed, and maybe you need to go cook her dinner. And that's just the times that we're living in. And is because when you don't take care of that one person that is always taking care of you, maybe you need to go take care of them and give them a break, you know, because sometimes those people that are always looking out for you, maybe you give them a break, okay? And I'm not trying to sit here and say, you know, I'm just trying to talk about hormones today. But really, let's dive in deep into these hormones and discover how they are really good for our bodies. And I'm going to talk how good they are about men's bodies too, because I don't think men know how wonderful hormones are for their body. They are essential for both men and for women. And yeah, so this is just the beginning. It's already been a long video. I know you're gonna have to tell yourself, wake up, I'm really into hormones. I really want this to be a success, so I'm gonna have to really get on the horn and tell somebody, hey, listen to my video, and I want you to share this video. I want you to like this video. I want you to comment on this video and tell me, hey, I didn't know that much about them. I want you to really type something out there and make this video go someplace, because we're going to have some more videos come up, and these videos are going to be about this book, and I've got another lady that is talking about these. We're going to get educated about this, because you know what? If you're thinking you might have heart disease, maybe it's related to hormones. If you think you've got other kinds of things coming up, and if you know some woman, if you're a guy, please make sure that you reach out to a woman in your life and make sure they get these videos. There is all kinds of things that we could be talking about. We could be talking about all the terrible things that are going on in the world, or we could be educating ourselves right now, okay? And, you know, do something good for somebody today. Share this video, okay? I love you guys, and remember to always look down in the bottom of the description or under the show more where the description is. I'm going to have some information for you guys, okay? Share, like, and comment. All right, you guys, and if you're not a subscriber, be a subscriber. Okay, over there in Rumble, if you're going to like, share, and comment, you will have to sign up to be into, just like you are over here in YouTube, you're going to have to do the same thing over there. If you're going to, you know, subscribe, and if you're going to sign in and make a comment. I wish you would, because I need subscribers over there. All right, you guys, I'll let you go. I'll see you in the next video coming real soon. Bye for now.